now we're going over, I think, to the tech talk. We had earlier said we have to work together, and because I'm a developer, I have some ideas, and some people have also ideas. We have just a tech talk, how it is possible to not just share the websites with each other, or just to share maybe to improve the networks together by programming together for all the websites. Want you to say something about yourself and why you are here on this panel and why you are what you are doing, because what is maybe your idea of it. The other thing is our community could write their ideas of some technical issues they have with the sites on the Q&A and vote them up. So we have another polling this way. If you want some feature really urgent. Okay, so we begin with we begin with Roman.
Hello together. My name is Roman. I'm a host in Heidelberg, mostly on Couchsurfing, but also some people on Be Welcome. I'm a software developer as my main occupation, though I don't currently not having software development on any of the HospEx websites. But in the past, I had looked at what happened after Couchsurfing had implemented the paywall feature. So a lot of people were like thrown out into the void without any platform, which they could like find a host. And this was really interesting because many people ended up just in Facebook groups. And when I saw this, I thought this is like a horrible idea. Yeah, but that's what people do. So then I was spending some time on thinking to like a broader picture. What are the features that are needed in a HospEx platform? And what are already provided by the general infrastructure? And I'm saying now Facebook as an infrastructure, not as a platform, because Facebook is not a HospEx platform. And it's almost available for almost everyone. And thought about what actually do we need on a platform? What could be decentralized? What are the advantages and disadvantages? For example, if it's decentralized, there would never be a paywall, but this also could be a disadvantage, as there are also some arguments for that. So yeah, I want to bring in a bit of broader discussion on what would actually be needed of a platform, what could be like outsourced. So
yes.
Okay.
So how long do you use platforms like this one?
I started in 2013. Is Couchsurfing?
Yeah, like Couchsurfing or some others, yes.
Yes, exactly. So I started in 2013, and yeah, I also answered now since this Facebook Couchsurfing Germany group started. I sometimes answer there, and actually will have a Couchsurfer in the future from that group without the Couchsurfing platform. So that's interesting.
Okay. Yes. And you Chagai, how long do you and why do you join this meeting? Or this?
How long have I been on
the platforms? Yes.
So privately, I've been, I think, first on Couchsurfing in 2012, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Okay.
And just not really as a developer, but more as a volunteer. I've joined Trust Roots about a year ago, I think, maybe a bit less than a year ago. And I've been in contact with Be Welcome. I don't want to really say volunteered because I kind of tried to volunteer and I didn't really do enough. So I don't really consider myself as a proper volunteer, but I'd love to do more.
Okay.
Yes.
And you, Shevek, how long you are using the platforms? And
we lost Shevek. He's not.
No,
here.
we didn't.
We didn't.
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Yeah, your name is just the A speaker kind of takes away half of your name, so that's a very poor design from Zoom.
Someone told me that I can change it at some point, but
I do it.
I joined Hospitality Club because of an article on a German IT website, 2007 or something like that. Shortly after that, in that article, they also mentioned couch surfing, so I joined both at the same time. And shortly after that, I learned about open couch surfing and open hospitality club, and about Be Volunteer and Be Welcome, and joined there as well. So I have been roughly a member for all those threes for a while, and then hospitality club died anyway, and couch surfing made me leave. So voluntarily, they didn't force me to in that regard. Yeah.
Yes.
And I started developing for Be Welcome roughly 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah, the question is on this talk is how we improve the networks together. So we have some issues I heard in most of the community talks I had in the last few weeks, and most of them takes time to develop. The question is there a way to, from my side, to develop together for maybe most of the platforms, so such features, or is there an interest to do it on the platform its own, or yeah? So what do you think, Chagai?
So in my opinion, I think the technology is a little bit complicated, but I think as soon as someone comes around and actually develops a technology to more easily communicate with each other. So I think on the Be Welcome side, it's lacking a bit of API, but in general, I think using some kind of protocol which is meant for federation, if it's can't think of the name right now, but the one Mastodon is using. Anyone help me here?
What?
Fediverse, I think it's. The protocol is ActivityPub. Thanks, Maria. Okay. So ActivityPub or something like some kind of federated protocol would be a long-term good step in the right direction. In my opinion, that would push us to be more to make it more possible from the technical side, and then make it easier to do if the platforms agree on something, because the most difficult part is probably going to be the platforms agreeing on what they want to share and who they agree to share with what. So for me, it would be a very good thing to push the whole federation thing. What I think I can do personally about it, and I'm trying to push that everywhere, and I think it needs a lot of development, and as soon as I put in the time and effort for this development, then I think we could talk a lot more about connecting these platforms. I'm trying to push the matrix protocol, which is the chat functionality. And if I start maybe implementing this chat protocol on each of these platforms, then they would all be speaking the same language, and eventually it would be easier to communicate on the technical level between all these platforms and make collaboration easier. For me, it's easier to start with the matrix protocol, but other protocols are also welcome. I think that would be a huge push.
And Shevek, I heard you're most of the main developer of Be Welcome, and you needing some help also on this side, because every development takes really long time.
Well, yeah, I would be glad to get help. The code is unfortunately a really hard mixture of past, future, and soon to be past. So yeah.
Okay.
But recently, someone just came by and decided to add some React to it, and now in the development branch for the trips feature, you can easily upload your profile picture. And I was quite impressed. So yeah, I'm doing that all in my spare time, and I'm not a professional programmer. So having someone who obviously has the skills seems to have a real big input. Oh, let's be welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you think to having a backbone which every site has the same should be helping, because we can develop together.
I find it rather difficult to believe. We have rather different data models for how we store the data. I'm supposing that only we probably have different understandings of how to implement an API. So programming once for all platforms is probably not possible.
Yeah, but to install something like a chat room for every platform, so you have an interactive chat.
Yeah, if we all would use the same
protocol,
chat protocol, that would be a possibility to have rooms for everyone where they can interlink. Yeah, but I would expect that most people would still stay with their current platform and seldomly interact with people from the other platform. But I might be wrong there.
Yeah, this was a good question, and we wanted to try to make it possible so we can talk together. Maybe some issues we have on the platform. So is there some issues from the community? Write it in the a Q&A if you want some feature have implemented on the platforms, and then we can talk about it.
There was a question here before about the references, profile info.
Yeah, okay.
If you could import that from one platform to another, I think that's a good thing to start with, maybe.
Yeah,
well, I'm pretty sure that only works if we had federation in place.
Yeah.
Because then we would know that this is the same user.
That's a huge problem. Yeah.
But even if that's in place, we already heard the arguments with the legal side of that, because you left the reference on one platform and not the other. So if you import it to the other, where you're maybe not even a member of, difficult, I guess.
I think, it is an issue we have to discuss on all the platforms. I think we could install something like, if you as a user say, okay, my references and my data should be shared with the other side, we could implement something like this, and every site has an API which everyone can talk to. We can share this information if the one says, yeah, I am this person. So but this is another way than just copying a text file to the other event and copying all the comments also, because this is a problem. This is also a problem when you're making a photo of couch surfing and put it on place on your forum or on your profile, because you are not the other ones aren't allow you to show this on your on your profile on another platform. So it's a problem. So I think we have to make something like an API in between where everybody can say, I want it or I don't want. Yes. So Roman, what do you think?
Well, that would be one possibility, of course, having an API, but there are also like all kinds of problems, like also with two platforms having agree on the legal side. There would also be, of course, a possibility to decentralize the reference systems, to have like an external service for references, and everyone can put a link in his profiles, be it on webcam or couchsurfing or trust roots, where say, here, click on this link, and these are the references that other people gave me, and you can verify this with cryptographic mechanisms, but that would mean a completely new platform. Because I think references are actually the central difference between, one of the two central differences between a HospEx network and a normal social network. It's the references and the discoverability, and so too, the references, if they would be externalized somehow, with an open API or something even, then you could use your references from all the platforms. And the platforms would not even have to agree on an API if you were just like a web link to your references. Something like that. But this is just like future talk. I don't think there's anything in development for that.
The problem is some platforms, they don't want to be open to the public. They only want you to be able to see your references when you have an account on that platform. And that's why you would need to have some kind of agreement between the platforms to say, if I'm logged in from Be Welcome, for example, then I can see stuff on TrustRoots, even though I'm not going, even though if I wasn't logged in on Be Welcome, I couldn't see stuff on TrustRoots. That would be an issue. And I think it's not, yeah, Shevek?
Yeah, I think this is true. This is like also probably not solved because the biggest network always wants to keep it a bit more closed because it has the biggest power actually. So this is why we probably will not see something from Couchsurfing because it's by far the biggest platform now. But also other, if they would go down, other platforms would be tempted to, because it's just easier if they are the biggest platform to have it like centralized for them. So that's true. So you would have to really have a central reference platform that is just in the hands of the users and not in the hands of the platform. That's true. The question is if the platforms want to have something like that. I doubt that like very open platforms like Be Welcome or TrustRoots would have problems with that, but we'll see if we ever make it this way.
Yeah, it's a team of the BOD, I think, of the also sides. We have to discuss it itself to bring it out or not. And yeah, I think of the Be Volunteer on Be Welcome, and I think I don't know how is this on TrustRoots, who's there for voting, which features are getting implemented or not.
We have some kind of duocracy concept.
Okay.
So if you want to do it and you're not getting any resistance.
Okay.
Duocracy, nice.
Yeah, good. Yes, okay. Yeah, so yeah.
I think Casper spoke about it before.
Yeah. So yeah. So you using also, I think, React on your side, I think. Or?
We're using React, yes.
Yes.
But just maybe to get back to the references, because it looked like on the comments a lot of people were mentioning that.
Okay.
I think what we could imagine is, for example, if you have on your platform on Be Welcome, you have like a label saying TrustRoots or Couchers or whatever reference, then you know that this reference came from a different platform. And then you can decide if you want to see these references on the UI, or if you want to import these references, and then it would be imported as with this tag. Or we can even do this manually. We can even have the volunteers manually say, hey, I want to import my references, and then we can the support can just add this stuff to the database. So this could be done now already. It's just a question of if we agree on it between the platforms, and there hasn't been much talk about it because TrustRoots just added this experiences, we call it in TrustRoots. So we just added that very, very recently. So it's it hasn't been a topic, but sure, if that's something that people want to talk about that much, then maybe we should bring it up a little bit more and try to focus on that. I don't think it's such a big issue. I think it could be solved very easily if not on the technical side. It's not a big. I mean, on the technical side, it's not a big issue. On the non-technical side, I have no idea.
Okay. I'm looking for Shevek. Yeah, okay, but it's not my work. Robin, could you look for Shevek? He was
Yeah, he's already back on the
panel. Thanks. I wrote yeah. Okay.
Why ever Zoom is hating me today?
Okay. Yes, no problem. I think we also have to stop because we won't make the event longer and longer. So we have now 8 minutes over. I think.
Yeah, let me just.
Yes.
Let me just say one more thing regarding the protocol. What?
yeah, to start, say, I want.
Regarding the chat protocol, for example, we don't have to rewrite any code. We can just we can have a bridge that converts messages from be welcome or trust routes, and it just rewrites them into matrix, and then we could have a separate component and think of this as
the other question was if we install a matrix or an XMPP in between, if on every website for the chat, because most of the websites, I think the chats are not that good to interact with each other. On Be Welcome, I know it's just a messenger system, and most of the people are using WhatsApp and changing also when on Couchsurfing they don't use the website for chatting. I think they're using the app, so it would be
but
nice.
The first communication, the first touch, is like, what's your WhatsApp?
Yeah.
And so for that you would have to have a connection between.
Yes. If we install a chat then a messenger system, we could also install there this getting a host or so in this. I think it could be possible to install it on every platform. But what we have to do in this way, I think, is to implement an LDAP, so somebody who authorized that you are the member of the website if you enter your thing, and that you have on the website something like an chat feature, like a element system, so like this chat system running there, so you can chat on this platform very easily and instantly, I think. The other is the question I had before we end, I think, is first question was, should we work more together to get features running? So share our own experience with some topics. Should we do it or should we not? So our own technical know-how with each other. I start with Roman. Should we?
I think we should always share our knowledge, and I don't think like anyone doesn't want to work together with others. This is how we usually develop software.
Yes.
Question would also be what are the bottlenecks currently in the development? What kind of developers do the platforms currently need the most? I think that would be really interesting to me.
So I had a question in the chat.
Sorry.
I'm not. It's okay. I'm not a developer from a platform for now. I just talk to every of the platforms I'm using for now. Be Welcome. I'm also on Trustroutes. I checked some of the features. I was earlier on Couchsurfing. I stopped last year when they opened the paywall. I said I have so much trouble with them with not sharing their information. I said no, I don't pay somebody who don't share their ideas, who don't share if they do something. They have to tell me before they're doing it. When they don't do, I couldn't react. So I said, no, not anymore. Yes. Chagai, what do you think? Should we share know-how?
I think yes. I don't understand. For me, the biggest problem, not from a technical point of view, the biggest problem of these platforms are that they are empty.
Yes.
There's no hosts nowhere. And if we don't unite, and I understand this, a lot of other people understand this, but the platforms themselves, they don't understand this. And if we don't unite, and if we don't start working together, and not in a technical way, just in advertising together, because we all have our own advertisement groups and our own people. And if we don't start telling our people about the other platforms, and if each one of us tells about each other platform, we start getting everyone on all the platforms, because unfortunately they have to make a platform everywhere to reach the most amount of people. That's the only way we can somehow fight with Couchsurfing, because I have Couchsurfing now. I paid. I said, you know what? I want to host. I want to help people. I'm just going to do a Couchsurfing account.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
And also, like Be Welcome and Trustroutes, it's not like we can add all the people up in this profiles, because I have a Be Welcome and a Trustroutes profile. Yes. So we are actually even less than if you just added the numbers. I think most people have.
True,
They have
true.
Couchsurfing, Be Welcome, and Trust Routes, and Hospitality Club. And
yeah. Okay. Then we get to Shevek. Do you think we should share and base open source and know-how platform?
Well, there's a reason why we do open source programming, because we want to share our knowledge, or at least what we think our knowledge is. So
yeah, because I brought it in. Yeah, and
from that
so
point of view, I
yes.
think it's pretty obvious.
Okay. So you're saying yes, and we should make it more getting in an inner talk with the platforms of what we can share, what we can't share, and so on.
Yeah, how we can align features might be a good idea, so that people get the feeling they are already able to use something that they know, but have a different niche that they focus on then.
Okay.
Trust was with the hitchhikers in the beginning, and then when they're in a bigger city, they use Be Welcome because that's somehow linked.
Yeah. Okay. So
I would also like bring up the discussion. Maybe we could do it later in the open discussion.
I think.
What would be in the far future, for example, if Hospitality Network just is like you open up an OpenStreetMap layer, look at the city where you want to go. There you see all the hosts on the OpenStreetMap. Click on one, see their Facebook profile and their reference system, a link or something, and then you just look for hosts over this kind of mechanism. So like OpenStreetMap, Facebook, and some other platformless verification system.
You lost me
would
at
the
Facebook.
Platforms like that
Yeah,
if they
you
would
should
be
stop
replaced?
saying Facebook. You have to stop saying.
I know. Facebook has some limitations, of course, but it provides the profiles.
No, but it's about the open source mentality here.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that most of the surfers really care about the open source. They wanna find a host.
Not everyone has Facebook, so you gotta include.
So we have to start in between.
But you don't need to. You don't need to link to Facebook.
Actually.
You need to link to some profile, which for whatever you have, like a link to some verification thing where you can see reference of that person. Would the platforms like that if they would be replaced in the far future by some non-platform?
PGP keys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I had here the web of trust, which existed to the end of the 90s. This is a very old concept.
I suppose we need blockchain for that.
I didn't want to mention blockchain, but yeah, for example, the reference system can be implemented in a similar way, but you don't need blockchain. You just need like a hashed lock mechanism where it's a lock mechanism that you cannot.
The idea of a meta HospEx site where you can actually search for hosts on the platform that you're a member of without having to log into all those platforms to do the search for on each of the platforms sounds like something that could work.
Yeah,
we can do it without profiles.
This is a good ending. I think it could work. So I think we have to go there further because we haven't the time today.
But I think we can really avoid a lot of problems.
Should it for now? Should it take more space if we share this storage, chatting with each other? Should it take more data? I think.
What?
In the Q&A, suggesting will it there be more storage cost for allowing use for storage and chatting data on other data flow except.
So the question is if it's one-shot data or not. So Signal doesn't store any data on the server, but only in your app. So
that's the question. We could make an API and send it out. And you don't store it on your site, so it's the storage is just on one server, so you have it not 3 times.
But storage issue is not an issue. I mean, we don't have, and no one has a storage issue.
Okay.
So when we get to these problems, we can deal.
with Okay. Yeah, storage is very cheap when you for chatting and so on. And maybe also what you can do when you have an app, you can store it on your phone, and So yes.
But I think if we take the idea of having a map and having just a number of 3 people are on trust routes in this area,
Yeah.
5 people are on Be Welcome on this area, and then tell the people just log in to Be Welcome. Maybe we can collaborate all together, a few different HospEx platforms, and have them send their data on in which city, how many people are, or have some kind of endpoint API, which we can get that and then update that live. And then every time someone goes to a city, at least the big cities, just focus on small, on small steps, just focus on the big cities and just say, this is how many people we have. You can go log into that website. They have so-and-so.
Okay,
yeah.
so but we have to get to an end and open the local community talk. I think what Shevek says, yeah, it should be possible to make something like that. It should be possible to make something like this. I think the main issue we have is we need the developer power on all the platforms. So also I think we to you as attendees here, we need more volunteers on development. I try to get in a few weeks also and try to get in the code, but for now I haven't the time. And yeah, I wanted to bring the platforms also further. And yeah, the other question we had was, or would it be default each other's profile? Yeah. Yeah, this is a question we have, and I think this what we have to make it in the teams. We have to discuss it. What how we make the condition and terms in between, and we have to make it as a law before we can make it. Yes, of course. So the safety is on your side. You as user can choose is the best way to do it. We don't do it on our own on the platform. When the API is there, you can there is an API agreement in between all the platforms. There must be one, and you have to allow this API agreement and allow every site you want. Yeah. Okay. So I getting over to Sarah, and yeah. And I thank you all to join this meeting. Also, we take a long time now, but I think we have another meeting just with the developers, and where we can talk about some developing some open source, some shared features. Okay.
Right. Thanks. See you later.